Welcome to a Galaxy Cast. We have two fabulous players, Huck spawning as the red Protoss in the top right. You can see his APM is already spamming way up to about a 250. Meanwhile, we have Axslav in the bottom left as Protoss. This should be a very exciting game. Xel'Naga Caverns is a map which is fairly easy to expand. You'll notice in the main, there's a just go down the ramp, and we are easily at the natural. From there, you can expand down to this area, or to the gold. Now, this area, depending on the situation, might be a little bit easier to take. The gold, you do have to take these rocks down, and are particularly like against Terran. Terran can put siege tanks here and harass this gold. But this is a Protoss versus Protoss, not Protoss for Terran, so we will see if the when these Protoss players, if we do get to the point of them taking a third, we'll see if they go for the gold or this one right here. Anyway, we do have a probe from Huck going out, and he very likely will attack the base of his enemy, possibly trying to take down a probe. We will see what happens, and then sorry about the sound. I have a hard time adjusting the sound to just the right volume. Oh yes, Huck is harassing this probe right here, and meanwhile Axslav sending his scouting probe into Huck's base. What we have is a 13 gateway for Huck going down after a 9 pylon, and looks like approximately the same build for Axslav. In production, we see identical gas, gateway, and probes coming down. And units for Huck, we have one more probe, which now it's even. So there you go. Going to boosting that Nexus, getting those probes out as quickly as possible. And we just see a second pylon going down, most likely before Cybernetic score, which is standard. By now, he probably would have put down a second gateway. Meanwhile, this probe is being nasty, trying to take out this pylon, and Axslav is forced to pull off the probe from mining. But using that time to get the cybernetic score off, and then here is Huck being sedulous with his probe, continuing to harass, and there's just a probe on probe action scooting around, and left, right, this probe is being so nasty, as Huck controls that very well, while at the same time, not late at all. I don't know if any of you guys have tried to micro. Look how Huck is just microing this probe around in the base. I don't know if you've tried to do that while stay on top of your build, but it is not easy to do. So, and a Zealot out for Huck, and one Zealot coming out for Sir Axslav, and second gas down for both players, although Huck needs to remember to put guys in this gas. See how long it takes. I'm just so curious. There we go, finally. I was not trying to diss Huck at all. It's just, you can see that these are the tip-top players, and this probe just getting out with 4 hit points. Very cool. These are tip-top players, and it's just cool to see that they're not perfect, just as we're not perfect, but they do play at a much higher level, of course. Huck is securing this tower, taking out a probe, the scouting probe from Axslav. He was going to secure the tower and just see what was up, took out that probe, and we have identical units for both players. Gateway technology on the way, and 2 sentries on the way. We have a robotics facility coming down for Huck, and a second gateway. It will be interesting to see a third gateway going down for Huck. So I was going to say we'll see if Huck is going to fast expand, but out of 3 gateways and 1 robo, I don't think you can also afford an expansion. This probe might be naughty and build a pylon here for not only for sight of this third, but also just for harassment. What you can do is warp in a pylon behind these bushes, which makes you invisible, and then you can warp in Zealots and harass the mineral line. No, he is just scouting to see what's going on. So Huck, we'll look in Huck Cam. Huck did see a gateway, but nothing else. And we can see that at the same time, Axslav does not know what's going on in Huck's base. We do have an observer finally coming out for Huck. I said finally, but it's not a late observer by any means. A observer now being made from our friend Axslav, and it looks like a robotics facility. So Robotics Bay, that is, for both players. So we are going to see some Colossi duking it out. Huck is now planning on taking this as the third before it takes his second. These units, very good. You know, when you have these units, rather than just hanging out here, it's good to have them do something, so they can pick out these destructible rocks. Meanwhile, we have two probes crossing paths. This probe being taken down, that was just how the timing worked out. That timing was just an accidental. We'll see if what Huck decides to do. He does make another. I keep calling these probes, but they're actually observers. I get them mixed up. I think because they're both tiny, and this observer looks like a probe, except it can fly. Taking out these destructible rocks too, so he's not actually revealing his plan to me, because he's taking out both these destructible rocks. So very good, and we have a fast expansion for Axslav. Fast meaning just before Huck was able to get it up. If we look at the food count, we are 48 for Axslav and 60 for Huck, so Huck is ahead in the army count, and if they were to duke it out right now, it looks like Huck is ahead by 2 probes, and he has 7 more zealots, 2 less stalkers, same amount of sentries. So soon we should actually see Colossus coming out. Yes, we do have a Colossus in production, and thermal lamps being upgraded for both players. I would say that right now Huck is probably in a little better shape in the army count, but a lot of that is just due to this expansion, because Axslav did put in a whole bunch of money, that's 400 minerals, into this expansion. So this is when he's most vulnerable, because Huck hasn't expanded yet. He's just going for 3 warp gate pressure, and we do only see, it looks like, 1 warp gate in Axslav's base. So that's the reason for the food count difference. A photon cannon going down to try and keep this expansion alive. We do have Colossus on the field, and a battle could be coming up. Huck really needs to take the advantage of the fact that Axslav has expanded and has only had 1 warp gate up, while Huck has had 3 up for quite some time. Thermal lance still being upgraded. Huck's Colossus has 1 Colossus out, 2 Colossus out for Colossi out for Axslav, but Huck decides, instead of trying to take out this expansion, he decides to put out an expansion of his own. He will be okay for quite some time, because he has been macroing up quite a bit. Meanwhile, we should see some more production facilities coming up for Axslav. Once this expansion goes down, he will be able to afford to build off more than just 1 gateway. And he's also getting upgrades, so again, when you put up this forge, you're basically saying I'm upgrading my units rather than, he could have put up a gateway instead, so that's just his build. That's what he decided to do. Here come 2 more gateways for Axslav, and some harassment by Huck, seeing what he can do with these thermal lance Colossi. Meanwhile, these Colossi will retreat, and these Alex will just chill. Only 1 stalker to protect these Colossi from ranged attacks. I'd say if Huck had more stalkers, he'd be a little bit safer. This stalker count is a little better for Axslav. Just poking in, trying to find some weaknesses in his defense. He's not going in for the kill just yet. I like this pylon placement right here, to see spot any drops, and also warping units down at the bottom. Huck is being cautious because he does not want to lose his Colossus, or Colossi, that is. And Axslav, if we look at the unit count, Axslav has more probes, 47 probes, due to the fact that he's had the second expansion up longer, and he has 3 Colossi, so same amount of Colossi, 2 stalkers, but only 6 zealots as opposed to 15. We have weapons level 1 coming up for both players. Colossi count going to remain the same, and now Axslav is preparing to take a 3rd. Meanwhile, we have Huck still only on a 2nd. And if we look in his base, he has not built any new production facilities, still producing out of 3 gateways. These minerals are looking like they have been just taking quite a beating from these probes. Those mining lasers they can cut through diamonds, folks. Those lasers are powerful. So what I'd like to see right now is Huck to secure a 3rd, because he hasn't had his 2nd out for quite as long, and he needs to get ahead. Right now they're about even. Actually, if you look at 5 minutes ago, Huck was ahead in the food count. Now Axslav is ahead with 121 food over 124, and Huck at 116. So there's even a button for that. And the army count, yeah, we have 116. So Huck is down. He needs to make something happen here, or proxy pylon going up for Axslav. Interesting placement. Taking out a probe. This probe was probably just scouting for expansions. We really need to see Huck either make something happen, or secure a third. And Axslav playing very well. His fast expansion has paid off. Meanwhile, he is now on 5 gateways instead of just 1. And rather than building more gateways, Huck is opting to build another robotics facility. Very interesting choices. So there's definitely a difference in these builds. We have 2 robotics facilities and 3 gateways for Huck. And pause just a second, that thought, Galaxy, because it looks like we have an encounter coming in the middle. Huck securing this watchtower here knows what's up with this army. Or should rather. It looks like Axslav's forces are split, so this may be a good time to encounter these lone colossi. Oh, and Axslav's forces are split off, and it looks like Huck might be able to take out some forces. No, but we have a flanking going on with Colossi, Zealot, Stalker composition, and lasers going off in the middle. This is a place you don't want to be. And if we look at the units lost, looks like it's so far about even, a little bit less for Huck. No, but in the resources count, Axslav is ahead. He's maintaining a lead in food, down 83 over 148 for Huck. Meanwhile, Axslav does have 108. I think that fast expansion for Axslav, that is the reason why he's ahead. He just got it up like 3 or 4 minutes earlier, even though Huck had more gateways sooner. 5 Colossi, 6 Colossi. Wrecking havoc on all these zealots. Will Huck be able to hold? I think the damage has been done to Huck. Axslav is now putting up a third, a Templar archives, and if we look at the production, it looks like Blink is being researched. Meanwhile, I do not see a Twilight Council for Huck. So not only is Axslav in the lead in terms of food count, he's also, if we look, we have 122 for Axslav, 107 for Huck. He is also ahead in the technology. He is now has a Twilight Council and Templar archives. And I think that the Colossi, if we look, he's down in the Colossi. So this has been an interesting game so far. It is interesting to me how Axslav likes to split up his forces. Here we have some Colossi over here getting a flank on Huck, and I think this could just secure the win for Axslav, as all these Colossi will probably go down. But however, because these Colossi here are bunched together, the splash damage is very strong, and these reinforcements were able to do some good damage here. This pylon making its use, as Huck does bring in some stalkers to try and pick off this Colossi. If we look at the army count, 71 food for Huck and 98 for Axslav. This game is pretty close, but I still give the lead to Axslav. We see the income for both players. Axslav way ahead by about 800 minerals per minute due to the fact that he has a gold, and Huck knows that he's behind. He has seen the third for Axslav, and what must he be thinking right now? What is he thinking? What is he thinking? What is he going to do? He is totally mined out in his main. Still only 3 gateways and 2 robotics facilities. And looks like we have still 5 gateways, a 6th gateway, 7, 8 gateways coming. Gonna be 8 gateways for Axslav. Very, very exciting. And then Psionic Storm coming.